Hello, I'm Scott Bulky here with Michael Blockhus ahead of his upcoming Fury FC fight against Koery Windham. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
And how are you feeling ahead of this upcoming fight?
Oh, I'm good. Body feels good. Mind's good. Just a couple weeks and then we get to actually get in there.
Exactly. And you have had an opponent change. It was meant to be Corey Freeman. It's now been Koery Windham. How has that kind of affected the preparation?
Not much has changed at all. I normally in camps just focus on myself and get myself and my body ready and obviously you tweak some things towards a
Yeah.
new opponent, but I've got the greatest coaching staff in the world here. So they kind of know how to approach that situation.
And throughout your career, you have been playing in the biggest organizations. You started off with Bellator, you then went to LFA, and you're now with Fury FC. How has that been be able to always be able with the biggest organizations?
I would say it's kind of a great learning experience. Like I
Yeah,
got to fight in front of a Bellator crowd, sold out in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Um, I've fought in some big stages in LFA, Minnesota, sold out crowds with another friend there, Mitch McKee, and now I'm kind of pushing the Fury to get into the UFC is the next route. And the shows in Texas are great. They sell those out too as well. So I'm kind of fighting on some of the biggest regional stages to prepare me for that next step.
exactly. And with this win, you will be on that two-fight winning streak. You would move up to 5-1. You start off strong in 2026, and you are in that line for a potential contender series fight at the end of next year. Is that kind of where you see your development plan?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just get in as many fights as I can until then, or we'll just see how it goes. And one fight at a time, obviously, right? We don't want to
Yeah.
look too far ahead. And obviously, UFC is the goal for most fighters. And not only that, a lot of people are just trying to get into the UFC. They're not trying to be world champions like we are here. So that's where my mindset's at. And this is just part of the journey to get there.
And do you see Fury FC as being that leading organization to get you there? Obviously, it's now starting to become that feeder to the contender series, and that you've just got Diego Lopez, who fought for Fury, fought for that featherweight belt. You got Josh Van, who fought for Fury, facing Pantoja for that flyweight belt. It is seeming to be that next big organization.
Yeah, Fury FC definitely has a great way of growing their athletes and preparing them for the UFC. Eric Garcia does a very good job there, and it's all professional there. And they have a great organization, and that's why I made the move is to prepare me and get me into the UFC kind of at a quicker rate than a lot of the other programs you see now.
Yeah.
Fury's pushing a lot of guys into Dana White Contender Series, and I know Mick Maynard's at a lot of the shows. Obviously, he's not in my weight class, but just fighting in front of those guys is good.
And I think another thing that a lot of people like about Fury is the fact that, unlike with some organizations, they aren't just going to give you a fight that you can easily win. It is going to be a tough opponent you are going to be getting.
Yeah, for sure, and that's what I prepare myself for. I train down in Killcliff in Florida, and
Yeah.
I'm training with guys in the UFC that are top ranked guys and Bellator top ranked guys when it was Bellator, PFL. I mean, we got guys that fight in every organization and weight classes from 125 all the way up to heavyweight. So I'm training with some of the best kids in the world. So I'm not really too worried about it. That's why we fight. Obviously, we're not here just to take easy fights all the time. So yeah, it's good.
And after you get a win, how are you going to be celebrating this victory?
Take a couple weeks off, I mean, hang out with my friends. It's more of a mental reset than
Yeah.
anything after a guy's going to a fight, which I think is good. Just to take a little break and then get back into it and whatever's next after that.
And obviously, it has been a very controversial thing over the past couple of weekends where fights have been stopped early in the fight. What's your take as a fighter? How do you get back into that mindset of we need to get back into that fight?
Um, I mean, early stoppages and stuff like that. I'm just try not to leave it in the ref's hands. When I get in there, I mean, I just focus on what I can do, and obviously just don't leave it up to the judges. I've wrestled my whole life, and when
Yeah.
you leave it up to certain calls and certain positions into a ref's hands, it never really ends the way you want it to. So, I mean, just taking control and doing things I can do.
And you just talked about that briefly. You have came through that wrestling background. You went into the university in with wrestling. How has that been to kind of like set you up for this NBA career?
I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at with the rest without wrestling, and I've wrestled in front of thousands and thousands of people on the biggest stages. A state finals in Iowa, the show sells out in a big arena, Wells Fargo Arena, where they've
Yeah.
had a UFC fight. I've wrestled on a mat in front of thousands of those fans, and not only that, but getting to compete against some of the toughest competition and making weight 3 days in a row and doing all these hard things really prepares you for anything in life mentally.
Yeah. And like you said, making weight three days in a row, it kind of helps you like just build up that weight cut.
Yeah, yeah, for making weight and obviously MMA it's a little different, but
Yeah.
it definitely we have a little knowledge and background from making weight and helping us prepare for weight cuts.
And where do you see your biggest strength being in this fight?
I'm never gonna stray away from my wrestling game. It's kind of where I came from. Obviously, I have other tools in my toolbox that
Yeah.
we've been working on. My last fight, I got a submission. So yeah, I'm working on things every single day. My jiu-jitsu has gotten a lot better. My striking's gotten a lot better. So I'm excited to showcase that as well. But I will never stray away from where I came from, right?
Yeah.
Which is my wrestling background.
And how good was it when you were able to get back into that last fight against Dumar and be able to get back into that win column?
Yeah, I mean, it was good for me as kind of a sense of relief and some weight off
Yeah.
your shoulders because if you don't know, like guys that think at the highest level, like myself, you don't really take losses that well. And it took me 6 months to get another fight going. And then once you finally get that fight, you can finally get. It's not like wrestling where I get to wrestle the next weekend after a
Yeah.
loss, and then I can avenge some losses where it took a little while. And obviously, it's wears on you a little bit mentally because you want to get back in there right away and get that win back. But um, it was good. I'm back on the right path where we need to be.
Do you feel like it's better now that you've had to try to overcome that instead of later down the line where it's like the UFC where it could be an even bigger stretch before your next fight?
Yeah, and I've talked about that with my coaches and with my manager. Like I'm 4-1 right now, 4-0, 4-1. I mean, early on in your career, it's good to it's a learning experience, right? I've learned a lot
Yeah.
since then. I got caught in a submission. My next fight, I got caught my guy in a submission. Like
Yeah.
that's how I work. I get back in there and I learn from my mistakes and my failures. And without failures in life, like you're never gonna learn. So I mean, it's good for me.
And what do you feel like has been your biggest improvement so far from that last fight?
I would say my grappling game and just learning the sport in general. I'm not really, I don't come from an MMA background besides
Yeah.
wrestling. I didn't know much about the sport growing up. I got into it in college, into boxing and stuff like that. So, just learning more about the sport and little positional changes is big for me. Learning the weight cut, diet, nutritions, and all that type of stuff that goes into it as well.
And how was it being able to go from wrestling to stand up?
Um, I think it's a lot. It's I should say easier to learn stand up than it is to learn wrestling. You can probably ask most fighters, but obviously like I didn't have much stand up game growing up,
Yeah.
and you have to start with the base foundation. Like I can't learn all this crazy stand up spinning stuff like some of these guys can do, but I can learn a base foundation a lot quicker than some people can with wrestling. So I can pick it up a little quicker, which is nice. And I like doing it. It was exciting. I used it to do extra workouts while I was wrestling at the University of Minnesota, and I've always enjoyed it and continuing to learn and improve.
And what has been your biggest fight, or like your toughest fight so far to date?
Um, I would say I had one in Minnesota. It went to I won by unanimous decision. But that was a good 3 round for me and just learning experience. Especially, I've never been outside the first round besides that fight, and just learned a lot about myself and how to stay composed during a fight against a kid that he was only 19 years old at the time, but I think he's rattled off like 5 or 6 wins since then, and he came from an MMA background, had all the tools in his belt, pretty good striker. So going into that and winning by unanimous decision just shows like the level that I can be at and where I want to be.
Exactly. And going into next year, what is the goals that you're kind of setting for yourself?
Just continuing to learn and improve and see how high a level I can really get to. And that's why we do this. Obviously, I want to get into the UFC, but I'm not going to rush it
Yeah,
because once you hit the that next jump, it's different. Like those guys are a lot better than what we're doing on the regional scene here. So just continuing to learn, improve, and have fun with it along the way.
and you're talking about not rushing it. Do you feel like you're obviously just 26, you've got plenty of time? Do you feel like that's on your advantage just now? You have got that time for yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, even if I was a little bit older, you see Daniel Cormier did it. Like some of
Yeah,
these guys can start. It's a lot harder for sure, and that's where I mean I get the advantage point. I get some extra years to learn the basics and the foundation. Continue more years to improve and learn from it, I guess. Which yeah, it does benefit us. I'd say my body is feels like when I was 16, like I'm super healthy. Some of these guys, they get older, their reaction time gets a little slower. So that's where you get some advantages being younger.
exactly. And do you have any like rituals that you like to do like before a fight?
I'm a big believer in God and Jesus Christ. So just kind of praying and staying composed, talking to my team. I got a warm up I go through all the time, just like I would getting ready for a wrestling match. And I'm a competitor at heart, so staying composed and just going out there having fun.
And how big was DC in being able to help wrestlers go from the wrestling scene over to MMA?
He was a I would say role model to look up to.
Yeah.
He did a lot of things the right way, and just seeing the way he manhandled some people at the highest level with his wrestling and with his ground and pound game, like a lot of guys that went over. I mean, you got Ryan Bader, Logan Storley, a lot of these other guys. I've gotten to meet them, and like these are guys I've watched fight or wrestle growing up, and you see that they did it at the highest level. Cain Velasquez, like they kind of set the tone for us younger guys. And the reason why I'm fighting is like you can be a wrestler and do this and actually dominate the sport. So
And how do you kind of like rate your division in the UFC just now? Obviously, Volkanovski is the champ. You do have Evlov, you have Leroy Murphy, Allen, not Arnold Allen, you have Rodriguez, you have Diego Lopez. It is just seems like there is a lot of contenders just now.
yeah, I would say 145, 155. They're the toughest weight classes in the UFC. Which I've been in some of the toughest weight classes my whole life growing up. I mean, wrestling 149, I had guys that were all Americans that didn't place in the same weight class.
Yeah,
Like we have multiple national champions in the same weight class, but definitely, I mean, I'm a realist. I'm not ready for those guys at the top level in the
yeah.
UFC yet, but that's why I'm continuing to learn, improve, and grow each day. I got some of the best coaches: Robbie Lawler, Nick Lentz, Dieter Navarro. I mean, we've gotten guys that have been there and done it, and guys that want to learn as coaches and put a lot of time into us. So that's what we're grateful for, and yeah, we'll just see where this journey takes us.
And how has it been able to get the experience of guys like Robbie Lawler, who's been in there, being able to get the titles, being able to share that UFC experience with you?
It's awesome. Not only like has he been able to share his knowledge, but he's kind of become a mentor and a friend and a guy I really look up to. And a lot of people don't know, but we're both Iowa boys, so like we can kind of relate on a lot of stuff like that. I mean, he's got family where I'm from in my
Yeah.
hometown, Cresco, Iowa. Super small town, but it's like it's a small world when you think about it, and some things that pop up along the way. It's funny.
And what would you say has been the biggest piece of advice, either so like someone's gave you in during your journey up in the game?
Um, I would just say like I mean, a lot of people they come into this sport and they waste a lot of time, and then it's not for them. Um, but this is a sport for me, and it's gonna be hard. Like, there's a lot of things that you got to ask questions to these people that have done it. Like, I've sometimes a lot of these guys they think they know it so fast and so quick, and then they'll get in there and there's so many things that they're missing. So one of my biggest things I've learned is like asking more questions and kind of picking these guys' brains and just yeah, trying to learn through them before so I can limit my mistakes, I
Yeah.
guess, going in.
And do you have the benefit of being able to do this full time?
Yeah, I do. I'm lucky. I got a great support system and great companies that help me out and sponsors and um I'm working with Mag Agency. Like a lot of people can't do this sport without working extra jobs, and obviously I do some extra side work along the way, but um yeah, I mean it's a lot more relaxed for me where I can put a lot of my time into this sport, and that's kind of where I get the upper hand too. Or some guys, I mean, they can only do maybe an hour a day or something because they have to work full-time jobs. But yeah, I got the benefit for that as well.
And do you feel like being able to have those like the one or two extra training sessions, they are the things that you can see in the fights?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you see big improvements. You get more time, more reps in, and attention to detail if it's in night sessions, or you get an extra hour in the morning and more one-on-one time with your coaches. I mean, all that stuff adds up over time.
And who was it that you're kind of looking up to when you just started looking into the MMA game? Who was it you're kind of looking up to?
I would say Logan Storley. He brought me along the way, and me and Mitch McKee were kind of uh, three amigos down here, all three from Minnesota. And I mean, it's different because you get to watch the fight game on a more personal level because you have a friend in it and a guy you look up to that can kind of mentor you along the way. So he's definitely helped us a lot.
And like you're saying, you, Mitch, Logan, you're all doing great things in your divisions. How good would it be at the end of 2026, Logan the PFL champ, Mitch the LFA champ, and you the Fury FC champ?
That'd be awesome. I mean, that's our goal. Like all three of us holding belts. I mean, Logan's done it at the
Yeah.
in Bellator, and I got to go to all of his fights for PFL, and we were so close this last year. But yeah, it'd be awesome for him to go out on top and get that PFL belt. And I know he's a competitor, so he's going to put a lot of time and effort into getting that back. And Mitch is a dog. Like you've seen his last fight, gritting it out, getting an insane knockout. And I do truly believe that he can win an LFA belt if that's what he wants to do, or if he goes into the UFC and makes the next jump. And yeah, I believe in myself and where I can get to with Fury, and going and getting that belt's the next thing for me. Then it'd be awesome if all three of us had a belt. It'd be crazy.
And do you feel like that is probably the next step for you? You get this stoppage here, and then you're definitely in that title picture.
Yeah, for sure. That's my goal. One fight at a time, and then
Yeah.
obviously you can reevaluate after that. But yeah, I mean, Fury title, it'd be pretty awesome to win a belt on the regional scene.
Well, make sure you guys tune in on November 9th, where you can see Michael get that stoppage and get himself that title opportunity. And we can't wait to see you get that victory. Is there anything else you'd like to add or anyone you want to shout out?
No, just I have a great support system. They know who they are, and obviously, thank you, Scott, for reaching out and giving me this opportunity as well.
No worries. Thank you so much for coming on. Make sure you guys tune into the UFC Fight Pass November 9th, and you can see Michael do his stuff. Thank you so much.